So I just wanted to put this at the beginning real quick. This is editing Aaron. I forgot to mention this at the start of the video, so I'm going to put it in now. Firstly, yes, I got a new microphone as well as a new webcam, because I didn't want to take any chances if the virus, Trojan, whatever I got hit with was in the webcam and microphone I was originally using. So I just wanted to get that taken care of first before making this video. Secondly, this video will be divided into chapters. If you want to skip past the explanation of what happened and just go straight into the tips I'm going to give towards the end, because I know a lot of you don't want to sit through a lot of boring exposition, so just feel free to skip to any of the chapters. So let's get back into the video. Hi, if you haven't been following me on TikTok, I recently got hacked, and I gotta say, it was definitely one of the more creative ways that somebody could have gotten me. Basically, how they got me to play into their hands was they played into my savior complex. Now, when I describe this situation, a lot of you out there are probably going to look at this and oh, that's not a savior complex. What the fuck are you talking about? But for those who do have a savior complex, you'll understand what I'm describing. Anyway, so I've been able to get everything under control, as far as I know, or as far as I hope at least. The only thing that is lost completely is my Discord. Now, I'm still trying to get it figured out to cancel my subscription, because I did subscribe to Discord Nitro because of some servers I was in where I had to use Nitro in order to use emotes from a personal server I made that was just for emotes that I liked, but that's besides the point. So yeah, basically I was in this server where, I'm not going to name drop the server because it's not their fault at all, they had no idea, but I was in this server where it was a server just to meet people, make friends, possibly find a relationship, just kind of that stuff, a normal hangout server. Wasn't anything too crazy. When the hacker joined, I think they started randomly adding people, and normally I don't add random people. Sometimes I'll humor them by reading whatever message they sent me and decide whether or not I want to continue talking to them, but 9 times out of 10 I could usually tell if it was a scam or they were trying to get my information somehow. Basically, this person played a character, and I don't mean an anime character or a fictional character. They basically create a fake persona to better sell their attempt at getting my information. And basically what happened was they pretended to be a lonely girl who was looking for friends. I know it sounds cliche, and looking back on it, it should have been way obvious, but hindsight's 2020. They pretended to be a lonely girl looking for friends, needing help with a video game, and they were needing help on some random game. So yeah, I stupidly clicked the link because I was you know what, fine, I'll be doing this person a favor, why not? Because they claimed they need help with a level in a video game that was multiplayer or whatever. So they sent me the link, I clicked it, downloaded the file, tried to install the game, stupidly, unknowingly installing a Trojan for them to remotely get information to all of my accounts. And part of the reason I'm making this video is I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. And I'm going to give you tips on how to better protect yourself, because a lot of these should be obvious, but even people who think they know how to protect themselves against everything can still fall for the stupidest shit, i.e. me. With that said, I'm now going to get into the tips I recommend. Tip number 1. Never disable Windows Defender, no matter what program you download tells you to, so that way you can properly use it. Because 9 times out of 10, if something is asking you to disable Windows Defender, it's more than likely going to give you some kind of virus or Trojan or whatever. And I'm actually going to, if I don't have the clip on hand, I'll just link Pirate Software's channel, because Thor, which is one of the Pirate Software devs, actually gives some really good advice when it comes to just computer safety and just great life advice in general, honestly. And if you're not following him already, you should go do so. He's an awesome guy, and that team does a lot to make video games accessible for people, but that's besides the point. Basically, in past versions of Windows Defender wasn't obviously the greatest. It had its moments of being able to protect you here and there, but hackers were still able to find their way around it very easily. However, Windows 11 version of Windows Defender is really good. Like, it really is. Because admittedly, I almost fell for another Trojan. Now this time it wasn't somebody directly reaching out to me. This was just a, how do I put it? Basically, I was trying to find a quote unquote free version of Adobe Premiere Pro because I was using a free version of Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my videos. Something real quick I want to mention that I forgot to mention with the editing software. I know I made a video talking about how it was done with DaVinci Resolve, but unfortunately I had to go crawling back to it because I ain't got money to spend on Adobe. Plus, I really don't want to give my money to Adobe because of their shady practices. So yeah, this video going forward will be using DaVinci Resolve. But yeah, I just want to mention that quick little fact. So back to the video. And unfortunately, I couldn't find the original thing of where I originally got it, but I found this one and downloaded it. Thankfully, Windows Defender noticed immediately that I was about to get hit with some kind of virus and shut that shit down immediately. Like, hey, don't do this. You're gonna be fucking stupid and you're gonna regret it. If I had it disabled, I probably would have had to do a whole nother nuke session because I probably should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but I literally had to do a complete, and I mean a complete system wipe. Basically, delete everything, reinstall a fresh copy of Windows. Now, I don't think I had to do that, but with how advanced viruses and Trojans are getting, I didn't want to risk it hiding in like a piece of software that I use every single day. So I'd rather just hit the nuke button and just get over and done with. So unfortunately, that does mean I've lost a lot of footage for a lot of videos. And it means I've also lost a lot of stuff relating to my VTuber avatar I made and basically losing my channel avatar, more or less. Now, obviously my channel avatar is never going to change. I can easily just take a screenshot from one of my other social medias I use and keep using that, but yeah, it's basically, I just went the nuclear option because I felt that was the safest option. In short, rely on Windows Defender. Heavily rely on Windows Defender. Never, ever disable it. Which again, I know to some of you may be common fucking sense, but trust me when I say Windows 11 version of Windows Defender is really good. It's the best version so far. Tip number 2, saving your passwords to whatever web browser you use. Because I use Mozilla Firefox, or Mozilla, however you say that first part.
Mozilla.
But anyway, I use Firefox, we'll just say that. But even they were able to still get a good chunk of my passwords. Now, thankfully, from what I remember, they weren't able to get any important passwords like my banking info or social security or anything like that, thankfully. At least I hope so. But just to be safe, I changed the passwords on everything. So again, I know it may seem convenient to do so, but you're better off either writing it down on a piece of paper and keeping it in like a file cabinet or some kind of filing system, or using the notes option on your phone and saving all your passwords there. Now, obviously, that still means that there's a possibility that you could lose your password information to the Notes app or whatever note app you use. So I still highly recommend just physically writing them down, which is what I personally did because I want to be as safe as possible. And in short, you really should just write whatever passwords you have, write them down, and then immediately get rid of any of like the saved passwords. There should be an option in whatever web browser you use to look at saved passwords. And it may take a couple minutes, it may take an hour, however many passwords you have saved. Delete all of them from your browser saved history. Just do it. You're doing yourself a favor by doing that. I'm going to call this next tip 2.5. because it does kind of play a little bit into tip number 2, but don't use the same password for everything. Again, I know, common sense, but just don't use it for everything. If you use the same password for everything, it's gonna make it a hell of a lot easier for hackers to get your information. Tip number 3. Use gibberish to make your passwords. And no, that's not like a website or anything. I mean actual, like, mash the keys if you have to, and then write down whatever you mashed and save that as your password. Do that for all of your accounts, especially the important accounts, because the more incoherent the password is, the safer your account will be, because it'll be harder for hackers to decipher the password, no matter what software they're using. And if you're feeling like that, oh, it's just too much just to like button mash, you can go to a website called random.org. I'll link it in the description. Tip number 4. You need to use some kind of checker program that will scan whatever file you're thinking of downloading, whatever link you're thinking of clicking on, just something that can scan whatever you're going to do and tell you, hey, this is probably risky, you probably shouldn't do this. And there's one that I've been using called URL Void, where all you do is just copy and paste a URL into it, and it uses several different trackers, or scanners, not trackers, several different scanners to check and see if the link you're going to click is safe. And if there's even one X out of all of the check marks, don't click that link. Don't download that file. If there's even one X in that checklist, do not do it. Again, a lot of this should seem like common sense, especially if you've been on the internet long enough, but still. So, those are all the tips that I can give to help you stay a lot safer when interacting with the internet. And unless there's something I'm forgetting which I can add after this, then all that being said, as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.